The condom in Casey's room. I took some time off work to prepare the house for the holidays. Our daughter Madison is flying home from college tomorrow. She's in her final year, and my wife Evelyn and I have been counting the days until her return. We haven't seen her since early October, when we visited her for Parents' Weekend. The last few months have been hard on both Evelyn and me. Her job has kept her incredibly busy. She's a project manager for a consulting firm that's currently evaluating a major acquisition. The company is considering buying a rival, and Evelyn is responsible for putting together the due diligence report. It's a massive responsibility. Late nights, weekend hours, and frequent trips to the target company's headquarters in Phoenix. She's barely been home, and when she is, she's exhausted. I've missed her presence, her laughter, even our quiet evening routines. We've been married for 22 years, and I still look at her the way I did when we first met. She's 43, beautiful, and fit from years of consistent workouts. Before this project, she went to the gym 3 days a week like clockwork. The only signs of age are faint laugh lines, which she complains about, but I find endearing. I tell her they highlight the joy in her face. She smiles when I say that, then kisses me like we're still newlyweds. Speaking of which, last spring we took a 2-week vacation to the Bahamas. I still remember how stunning she looked in that tiny bikini, and how we ended up on a nude beach. Her idea. That night we didn't even make it to dinner. We made love like we were on our honeymoon again. That memory has stayed with me, which is what made what happened today all the more jarring. Madison's room has been closed off since she left in the fall. We usually keep it shut, there's no reason to go in there. But with her return imminent, I wanted the room to be perfect. I vacuumed, dusted, and began stripping the bed to wash the linens. When I lifted the comforter, something on the floor caught my eye. Flash of plastic. I leaned in, whispering a silent prayer that it was just a popped balloon or a candy wrapper. But it wasn't. It was a used condom. For a moment my brain refused to process it. My stomach turned. I sat down on the edge of the bed, holding it gingerly between my thumb and forefinger, staring like it might vanish if I blinked enough times. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? I whispered, then shouted. At first I assumed Madison must have had someone over, maybe a hookup or some friends with benefits situation. She doesn't have a boyfriend, not that she tells us everything. But then the realization hit me like a freight train. She hasn't been home since October. There's only one other person who's been sleeping in this house. Evelyn. The thought was unthinkable. Evelyn. My Evelyn. Cheating. She's never given me a reason to doubt her. Never. But that condom was real. I stared at it, bile rising in my throat. Unsure of what else to do, I walked downstairs, found a plastic sandwich bag, carefully sealed the condom inside, and then placed the bag in an envelope. That envelope went to the very bottom of the freezer in the garage, behind last summer's fish fillets. I had no plan, just instinct. Preserve the evidence. I couldn't bring myself to even say the word divorce, but it loomed. Would I be able to forgive her? Would she even ask for forgiveness? What if she was in love with someone else? My entire world had shifted in an instant. Robotically, I went back upstairs and finished cleaning Madison's room, like it was the only thing holding me together. When I couldn't stand being alone with my thoughts anymore, I called my brother Mark, who works downtown. Want to grab lunch? Yes. I need to talk. Mark immediately picked up on the tone in my voice. I'll meet you in 20. We sat at a quiet corner table in a bistro near his office. As soon as the waitress took our order and left, I leaned in. Mark, this stays between us, okay? He nodded solemnly. Of course. What's going on? Told him. Every detail. He sat there stunned. Man, I don't even know what to say. Evelyn. Are you sure? She loves you, Al. That's what I thought too. But we've had no one else in the house. No parties. No guests in that room except for the Johnsons, and they stayed in the guest room. Unless they sneaked into Madison's bed for a quickie, and I highly doubt that. Mark leaned back. You can't confront her yet. Not without more than just a condom. Trust me on this. Why? Because I screwed up once. 2 months ago I came home early. Thought I heard the back door close. Went upstairs and found my wife, Julia, in a bathrobe. I accused her, lost my temper. She flipped out. Said I humiliated her, the mother of my kids, by even thinking such a thing. She didn't speak to me for 3 weeks. No sex, no affection. Cold shoulder. I still don't know if she was lying, but I started watching more carefully. He paused, then added, I got a list online, signs of cheating. Started checking her phone, her closet, her schedule. Dropped in for surprise lunches. So far nothing. But I'll tell you this. Accusing without backup. Bad idea. The waitress, who had been quietly hovering throughout our tense conversation, finally dropped off the check and said in a low voice, I caught my boyfriend by checking his phone. He was texting her constantly. I dumped him. That stuck with me. Back at home I sat in my office trying to calm down. I put on Rachmaninoff to help me think. Was there anything besides that condom? Anything that truly indicated an affair? Long hours. Weekend trips. And then, I remembered something. About a month ago, Evelyn spent over an hour in the bathroom. Longer than usual. When she came out, she wore a silk nightgown I had never seen before. She called me to the bedroom, and when I walked in, the room was glowing with candlelight. She told me to shower, shave, and come back quickly. We made love like we hadn't in months. Afterward, lying there, both of us breathless and laughing, we said in unison, That was amazing. Then we showered together, kissing under the water like teenagers. That didn't feel like the action of a guilty woman. Or did it? I needed more. So while Evelyn was still at work, I searched her closet. I dug through bags and boxes. Nothing shocking, except a new bikini from Nordstrom, tags still on. Maybe for Phoenix. Her drawers. No unusual lingerie. No secret stash of condoms. No provocative dresses or suspicious receipts. It was nearly dinner time. I opened a bottle of wine, tossed a salad, and waited. When Evelyn walked through the door 15 minutes later, she looked exhausted but radiant. She dropped her briefcase, kissed me deeply, and said, I'm so glad to be home. I submitted my report this afternoon. I even took my team across the street for dinner to celebrate. Just 1 glass of wine. Then I came straight here. She hugged me again. I've missed you. I looked into her eyes and tried to see the truth. But all I saw was the woman I loved. We had a wonderful evening. We drank, laughed, and talked like we used to. She was tipsy and glowing. At 9 p.m. she yawned and said, Let's go to bed. She passed out as soon as her head hit the pillow. I stayed awake. At midnight, I did something I'd never done before. I reached across and picked up her phone. It was locked. That didn't used to be the case. In the morning, while she was making coffee, I casually picked up her phone and said, Hey, I need to call Greg, Sandra's husband, about that fly rod he's selling. Can you get me his number? Evelyn didn't even look up. Oh, it's 4002, the garage code. I had to start locking it. One of my junior analysts, Kevin, was snooping in my gallery while I was in a meeting. I typed in 4002. Opened. Guy almost got himself fired, she said. He has a warning on file now. But he just had a baby. I gave him one more chance. I scribbled down Greg's number, then casually asked, So what was he snooping for? He chuckled. Photos from the flower show I went to with Janet. And a couple of Madison's selfies from college. That's it. No scandalous lover shots, I promise. I scrolled through her gallery while she laughed. Flowers. Madison's smiling face. No lingerie selfies. No shirtless men. She leaned over and grinned. Sorry to disappoint. Your wife is officially boring. I stared at her. I still didn't have an answer. Just a gut full of doubt. And one used condom in the freezer. But something told me I hadn't reached the truth yet. And I was done making assumptions.